let's get right to it. Lions fans, we just wrapped up the NFL season, and while our playoff run isn't over, it was still a fantastic year. But as we look toward 2025, the team faces some big decisions, especially when it comes to retaining or parting ways with key players. Before we get into all the details, do me a favor and hit the like button so you don't miss any offseason updates. And if you think this is our year, comment something like, "Go Lions, 2025 is ours." Okay, let's talk about 6 Lions veterans who are likely playing their last games in Honolulu Blue. First up, Carlton Davis. The Lions traded for Davis in 2024, and he brought exactly what the team needed, a cornerback who can shut down opponents in man-to-man coverage. He finished the season with a strong 72.1 coverage grade, recording 56 tackles and 2 interceptions before a broken jaw ended his season prematurely. The problem? He'll command a lot of money in free agency, and reports suggest the Jaguars are ready to make a serious offer. With Jacksonville desperate for help in the secondary and willing to spend, the Lions may have a tough time keeping him around. Next up is Kevin Zeitler. The 34-year-old guard signed a 1-year deal with the Lions and has proven he still has plenty to offer. He's played in all but 1 game this season and has been a big part of the offensive line's success. But with 6th-round rookie Christian Mahogany showing promise, Zeitler's time in Detroit may be over. Mahogany has looked sharp in limited action, grading well as a run and pass blocker. It may be time for the Lions to hand him the keys and invest in younger talent. Derek Barnes is another tough decision. Drafted back in 2021, Barnes was finally starting to show his potential as an outside linebacker when a season-ending knee injury derailed his 2024 campaign. He's in the final year of his rookie contract, and if the Lions aren't willing to meet his price tag, he could reunite with Aaron Glenn in New York. Then there's Dan Skipper. Look, I get it, Skipper is a fan favorite, especially after those memorable trick plays designed by Ben Johnson. But Johnson is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and it's unlikely the Lions will call that many trick plays involving offensive linemen. Skipper has struggled in traditional roles, so it's unlikely Detroit will bring him back. Marcus Davenport is a name that hurts to mention. The Lions took a chance on signing him despite his injury history, and unfortunately, that gamble didn't pay off. He tore his triceps in Week 3 and is out for the season. With Zadarius Smith likely to stay and the Lions eyeing young pass rushers in the draft, Davenport's time in Detroit appears to be over. Finally, Ifeatu Melifonwu. This one stings because Melifonwu has shown flashes of being a difference maker. But with Brian Branch emerging as a star and Kirby Joseph having an all-pro season, the safety room is crowded. Melifonwu missed most of 2024 due to injuries and was a healthy scratch in several games. It's hard to see a path for him to return. So there you have it. Lions fans, 6 veterans who could be on the move. But what do you think? Should the Lions fight to keep any of these players? Or is it time to let them go and invest in new talent? Sound off in the comments with your thoughts. The Eagles just wrapped up an incredible Super Bowl win over the Kansas City Chiefs, putting a stop to Patrick Mahomes' quest for a three-peat. Their 40-22 victory was a masterclass in execution on both sides of the ball. But more importantly, it provided a blueprint for teams like the Lions, who are right on the brink of greatness. Let's break down 4 lessons Dan Campbell and company can take from the Eagles to push this team over the top in 2025. First off, pass rush dominance. The Eagles' defensive front made life miserable for Mahomes, forcing him into turnovers and never letting him get comfortable. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, and rookie Jalen Hunt all got in on the action, combining for multiple sacks and relentless pressure. That's something the Lions need to replicate. We've got Aiden Hutchinson, who's already proven himself to be a game changer, but when he went down with an injury, our pass rush fell flat. We couldn't generate consistent pressure, and that's a recipe for disaster against elite quarterbacks. Brad Holmes needs to add more firepower to the defensive line this offseason. Imagine pairing Hutchinson with another elite pass rusher, unstoppable, right? Next, let's talk about owning time of possession. The Eagles kept Mahomes and that high-powered Chiefs offense off the field by controlling the clock. They dominated the first half, holding the ball for nearly 20 minutes compared to just 10 minutes for Kansas City. That's a strategy the Lions can adopt. We've got a strong run game with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and we know how to move the chains with big plays. But controlling the clock not only keeps the opposing offense on the sidelines, but it also wears down their defense. It's a win-win. Now, let's get into capitalizing on takeaways. The Eagles' defense forced 2 crucial turnovers in the first half, setting up points that helped them build a commanding lead. Rookie cornerback Cooper DeJean had a pick 6, and linebacker Zach Bond snagged another interception deep in Chiefs territory. This is an area where the Lions have shown flashes of greatness. Kirby Joseph led the league in interceptions this past season, and when our defense was creating turnovers, we were winning games. But when we didn't generate takeaways, like in that brutal playoff loss to the Commanders, it cost us. Creating turnovers and converting them into points needs to be a priority in 2025. Lastly, adaptability on offense. The Chiefs shut down Saquon Barkley, holding him to just 2.3 yards per carry. But the Eagles didn't panic. Jalen Hurts stepped up, throwing for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns while rushing for another 72 yards and a score. This is a lesson the Lions can absolutely learn from. We've got weapons all over the field, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, and our dynamic backfield. If one part of our game gets shut down, we need to be able to pivot and find other ways to attack. That kind of adaptability is what wins games in the postseason. So there you have it, Lions fans, for key lessons from the Eagles' championship run that can help Detroit take that next step. What do you think? Which of these lessons do the Lions need to focus on the most? And what moves should Brad Holmes make to get us to the Super Bowl next year? Drop your thoughts in the comments. So let's get into it. Jared Goff, a football savant? That's not my phrase, folks. That comes straight from none other than Michael Vick himself. Vick, speaking at Super Bowl 59, had some glowing praise for our Lions quarterback, even as Detroit gears up for a big change on offense with John Morton stepping in as the new offensive coordinator. Now, we all know Ben Johnson left to become the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He was a mastermind behind the league's highest-scoring offense for 3 straight seasons, and Goff thrived under his system. The numbers speak for themselves: 72.4% completion rate, 37 touchdown passes, and 4,629 passing yards this past season. Those are MVP-caliber stats, and Goff earned some serious consideration for that award. But here's the thing. Vick isn't worried about Goff without Johnson calling the shots. In his words, Goff is the football savant. He knows what he's doing, and he's versatile enough to adapt to new schemes. That's a big endorsement coming from a guy who revolutionized the quarterback position. Vick even compared Goff's situation to his own experience back in 2004. After missing most of the previous season with a leg injury, Vick had to adjust to a new head coach and offensive coordinator. The result? One of the best seasons of his career, leading the Falcons to an NFC South title and finishing second in MVP voting. Now, Lions fans, we're not talking about a complete offensive overhaul here. John Morton knows this system well. He was with the Lions in 2022 before spending the last 2 seasons as the Broncos' passing game coordinator. And Fox analyst Jimmy Johnson, who knows a thing or two about winning Super Bowls, believes Morton will tailor the offense to fit Goff's strengths. Anytime you change coaches, there's going to be some things to overcome, Johnson said. But I think Goff has been in this league long enough that he's going to know what he does well and what he doesn't do well, and so I'm sure that the new coordinator will adjust to that. Vick doubled down on his confidence in Goff, saying the quarterback has already proven he can thrive under different coordinators. From leading the Rams to a Super Bowl with Sean McVay to taking the Lions to the NFC Championship game, Goff has shown he's adaptable and mentally sharp. He's shown that he's versatile, Vick said. He can work with multiple coordinators, and he's probably a big part of that as well. Just making suggestions and being a mental stipend for the team as well from a quarterback perspective. So what does this mean for the Lions in 2025? It means we've got a quarterback who's not just riding the coattails of a great offensive mind. He is a great offensive mind in his own right. And with Morton stepping up, there's every reason to believe this offense will continue to thrive. What do you think, Lions fans? Are you confident that Goff can keep this offense humming without Ben Johnson? Do you think John Morton is the right guy to lead the charge? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, let's go, Lions!